Are you ready to go around the world? Sit back, relax, and buckle your seatbelt as we take off for an adventure. It's jet-lag free but filled full of fun and travel insights. The only thing you'll need to pack is a sense of humor. Time for the award-winning travel show Around the World.
Yodeling! Welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen, to Around the World, where this week we're doing the All Switzerland show. That's right, we do one of these.
Your day job.
I can't yodel. Martha Bull, my critic here, and also co-pilot on Around the World. We're going to have some fun today, folks. We're going to go to some great spots in Switzerland. You're going to learn more about Switzerland than you ever knew. Matthias Kramer, who's with Switzerland Tourism, he's come down from San Francisco with a whole team of Switzerland experts. We're going to go to Zurich, we're going to go to Lucerne, and we're going to go to the Lake Geneva Matterhorn region and find out what's happening this summer and into the winter. You're going to just love it, and we feel a yodel coming on with this chocolate.
And look at all these cute cows that we have.
So much, and but we're going to first have to do what we do every week on Around the World. We're going to talk about travel news, and ladies and gentlemen, travel news is brought to you by the internet website www.atw.tv, the first place you want to go, even to visit the last place on Earth.
And the last place you've been.
Okay, and where have you been lately, Martha Bull?
Well, I will tell you that you can't go to a supermarket or anywhere and see a magazine cover these days that you don't see a picture of Harry and Meghan.
Yeah.
Prince Harry and Meghan. They're getting married in May. Well, a lot of people would like to live that fantasy dream of living in a castle like they do.
Marrying a prince?
So?
You married a prince.
I did marry a prince. There are plenty of castles apparently available on Airbnb, with a 43% increase in listings of castles with the term royal in the title since last year. So I guess everybody's sort of getting into it. So there are, Airbnb has compiled the top 10 most wished list castles on their platform. Ooh. And of the three top 10, 3 are in England. They are in Cumbria with 17 grand rooms. A historic Scottish castle from 1550. Now, do you tell me that that's drafty or what? Can you imagine how cold that would be? And then a Scottish spot only an hour from Edinburgh. There's also one across the Irish Sea, with one being in Cahir Castle, which was built sometime in the 1400s, so that's even draftier. And they say that the guests can expect all the quirks that come with such an old building. There are actually castles, and I guess I didn't realize this, being kind of ignorant, but there are a bunch of castles in the Tuscany area in Italy. They have a small old tower, an extravagant Borgia castle, or there's one called Castello di San Fabiano.
Wow.
And if you don't want to travel very far from home, there's one actually in Connecticut, a cute little one. It's like a storybook castle that was built in 1917. Of course, you'd have to go on Airbnb and figure out how much they cost. But, if you wanted to get into this royal hubbub, that might be a way to go.
And, a lot of people who are thinking about the royal wedding, which is May the 19th, I think, is the date for the royal wedding. You can also stay in hotels, both in England and here in the U.S. In England, the Arch has a special event where you can stay at the Arch and you get a beautiful suite. It's a 2-bedroom suite, in case you don't get on with your significant other. It has a large entertainment area, extravagant bedrooms, private courtyard, contemporary kitchenette, which sounds pretty nice. Yeah. And you'll get a wonderful 3-course meal at their restaurant Hunter 486. And you'll also get to have afternoon tea.
Oh, you've got to do that.
Which is very British. Yeah. And and you get a $100 or £100 Fortnum & Mason shopping voucher. How much do you think it is for 2 nights?
During the royal wedding?
Yeah.
Oh, then it's going to be, it's going to be different.
So pick a price.
I would guess $1,000.
Your guess again. 3,900 pounds per room for 2 nights stay. Then Duke's in London has also a great package where you can stay in one of their suites. There's a minimum 3 nights for the royal wedding experience. Yeah. And that suite isn't too bad. It's only £637 a night.
And, wait a second. That doesn't sound right.
And this is Duke's is a lovely hotel in London. If you want to stay closer to the U.S., the Windsor Court in New Orleans is offering a royal wedding weekend. Okay, let me tell you what it is. And this is from May 17th to the 20th. You get round-trip first-class airfare. That's pretty good from anywhere in the U.S. You get 3 nights in the presidential suite. And you get a fully stocked bar, including Bollinger champagne. You have a chauffeured car service throughout the day. There's going to be a little tour, antique store, and get a wonderful meal, and a $4,000 credit. How much do you think the royal wedding package is?
That's going to be...
Come on, pick a number.
Okay, I'll say $15,000.
How about $51,918?
I had the numbers just... I was dyslexic there.
Anyway, fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of fun stuff, if you're in Paris, this is a thing you may want to try. They just opened up last month. It's called Flyview Paris. And Flyview is an opportunity to take a 3D reality trip without having to put a jetpack on, but you're going to feel like it is. We have a little video. Let's take a look at this video, because one of the things that Flyview does is it takes you up in the air with a 3-dimensional view of Paris in reality. No graphics at all involved with this. This is the real thing. And you can look 360 degrees at the wonderful monuments, the sceneries of Paris. It's a permanent attraction.
Where is it?
And it's in Paris.
Okay.
It's right in the middle of town.
So if you're in Paris, why don't you just go...
Because you don't do it from the air. This is a way you get a chance, and you kind of drive it. And if you ever wanted to wear a jetpack, but you may not want, you might be a little fearful of flying. This is like giving you the real experience.
Well,
it's supposed to be spectacular. It was founded by Arnaud Huet, who came up with this whole idea of virtual reality. And it looks like a lot of fun for everybody, older folks and younger folks. And they have 50 jetpack simulators, all mounted, so you can. That's what they look like. I think it looks like fun.
Cool.
Okay.
Well,
yes.
This is kind of interesting. We all love to take pictures when we're on vacation.
Yeah.
Love to. I think a lot of people spend more time taking pictures than they do enjoying their vacation sometimes. Well, apparently the world's largest cruise ship has just been, whatever they do, unveiled. It's called Sympathy for the Devil. Symphony of the Seas. And it's announced that it's employing an Instagrammer-in-chief to help its guests capture the perfect images. So apparently this guy, Russ Francis, was chosen to be on board and help people that are, on board teaching them how to take the perfect picture, finding cool places for them to take pictures. And I guess it's sort of like a learning tool, and then they can post it to Instagram and share it with the world. So you can do
selfies, teaching you how to do a good selfie?
It can be selfie.
What is the trick to holding a selfie camera?
Have you ever seen the things that they have on the back of the...
hold this up.
Wait a second. On the back of... Here, give me this.
Look how cute we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a new thing that you can see on the... People put this, like, what looks like a suction cup on the back of their phone.
Yeah.
And then they can hold their phone thing up, and then you can...
Stick it on a wall?
But it makes... It's more stable than... Because
it's like when I hold pictures, it's... Okay, that's all right. Very cool. Okay. How about this?
Okay.
There's a wonderful TV show on KCET. It's been very popular. It's a British comedy called Death in Paradise. I don't know if you've seen it. It's great fun, been very successful. It's on Monday evenings at 8 p.m. on KCET out here in California. Mm-hmm. But they're having a competition, and this sounds like a lot of fun. This competition is what they basically call Death in Paradise. Well, it's not Death in Paradise, it's Holiday in Paradise.
Oh, okay.
Well, hopefully you won't die. But you'll be dying to be the winner on this one, because all you got to do is you got to enter on kcet.org by May the 10th.
Okay.
And there's no donation required, although it's certainly welcome. Sure. As you know, KCET is a public broadcasting system.
Yeah. If the Caribbean scenery in our hit show Death in Paradise has you dreaming, then here's your chance to make that dream come true. Enter our new sweepstakes, and you could receive a 7-night Caribbean cruise for 2, including round-trip airfare from LAX to the white sandy beaches and clear blue waters of one of the world's most beautiful vacation spots. Donate by May 10th and you'll be automatically entered, but no donation is required. Don't delay. The winner will be selected May 17th. For details, go to kcet.org/Caribbean.
Doesn't that look like fun?
Yeah.
And by the way, if you win, what's really cool is you'll get to pick what cruise ship you want to go on in the Caribbean. because that series was shot in Guadeloupe, in the French island in the Caribbean. But if you win, you can pick the cruise line. I mean, maybe go on Princess or one of the great Carnival. Ain't we got fun? No, we might go for a little bit higher end than the Carnival. But anyway, it'd be a great experience, and it's a cool promotion. Again, if you go to kcet.org, you can find out more about it. And that wraps it up for Travel News. As we said, Travel News is brought to you by the internet website www.atw.tv, the first place you want to go, even to visit the last place on Earth. Speaking of the first place on Earth, we're going to be going there next. We're going to go to Switzerland with Matthias Kramer. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these words.
There have been 514 leap years since its creation in 45 BC. Over here at Around the World, we are so thankful that the Mayan calendar did not take that into account. So we will be here to give you amazing travel deals, luxurious destination ideas, and much, much more every week for a long time to come. Tune in to Around the World Thursdays at 10 a.m. on AM 1290 or at www.atw.tv. Also, be sure to check us out in Santa Barbara on Cox Television On Demand. Around the World. We'll be sure to get you there.
And we are back here on Around the World. I'm Arthur von Wiesenberger, the lovely Martha Bull in the co-pilot seat today as we go around the world. But this time, our plane is stopping in just one place only.
One country.
One country. We're all Switzerland. This is the All Switzerland show, as we mentioned earlier. It's everything you ever want to know about Switzerland, but maybe we're afraid to ask. And we have the top experts from everywhere in Switzerland. We've got the top experts from Zurich, from Lucerne, from Geneva, and the Matterhorn region. You're going to find out more than you ever imagined. And you can ring my bell.
Aren't they cute?
One of the things that I was going to say is we're going to be talking also about Switzerland on 2 wheels, on 4 wheels.
And on your feet.
And on 80 wheels.
80 wheels.
Yeah, you know what 80 wheels are?
Well, yeah.
Woo-woo.
Oh, a choo-choo train.
There's so many different ways to see Switzerland. We're going to explore some of those. But our first guest is a dear friend, a wonderful cognoscenti of Switzerland in every way, and he's here in studio today, Matthias Kramer. He's the media manager for Switzerland in San Francisco, and he is also with Swiss National Tourism Office. And so nice to have you with us, Matthias.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
So, for our viewers, they want to know, first of all, what's the best way to get to Switzerland, and when is a good time to go?
Good time to go. I mean, you can go in wintertime for skiing, outdoor winter activities, but summer, I think, is a little bit, something to discover yet, because you can do so many things. You can do kite surfing on the lakes, you can do hiking, you can do rent alpine huts. There are so many varieties. We have trendy boutique cities like Geneva, Lucerne, Zurich, Lausanne. I think there's a huge variety, and I would say go in summertime, jump into rivers, swim in lakes, and live the life the locals do.
A question for you. Is August like the big time when, because it seems like all of Europe sort of goes on vacation?
Yes, July, mid-July until August is holiday season, of course, in Switzerland too. I would also say autumn is very good. September, October, it's still warm, still a lot of sun, and you have already that Indian summer. But I think all over summertime is all right, it's fine. And the best way to get there, of course, is by plane. And what I like the most is actually flying by Swiss out of San Francisco or LA, or maybe Edelweiss if you're in San Diego. You have direct flights to Zurich. And what I like there, I feel already at home on the plane in San Francisco, because I get a beer from my hometown region on the plane. I have these biscuits which I ate as a child. So I really feel already at home there, So it has really specialities, local treats on the plane already.
And definitely chocolate.
Chocolate always.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, one of the things about going to Switzerland in the summertime is, of course, you can have so much exercise. If you're being in shape, Switzerland's a place to go. And we said that you can see it by 2 wheels, by 4 wheels, or by 80 wheels. So starting with the bicycle idea, which is such an easy way to see a country and see it up close and personal. Can you even rent a bike when you go to Switzerland?
Yes, there are so many rental stations right at the train stations. That's very easy to rent a bike there. There are e-bike stations, electric bikes, which make it very.
I would like that.
Easy. Yeah,
they pedal
that's my style too.
There's a hard route. You start in Geneva. You can go to Zurich, Bern, and then to Lake of Constance. And with the e-bike, it's so easy. You just it's not only for sportsmen and very active person. It's also for you can see people in their 70s up on mountain peaks with their e-bike. It makes the mountains accessible. And don't forget that Switzerland, half of Switzerland are mountains, Alps, but we have also a lot of very soft hill landscape, and there it's just perfect to use the bicycle and to go from town to town.
And there's some towns that you can only have a bike. You can't drive, like for example,
yes, there are
Lucerne,
car-free resorts.
Right.
There are car-free villages like Zermatt, like Wengen, Mürren.
Right.
These are places you just can access by train or bus and by bike. Zermatt, for example, uses e-cars, also that just have electric cars. And one thing we also close, we have it's an initiative for first time we launched this year. It's called Ride the Alps. We close mountain passes, and they're just accessible for bicycles, so car free for 1 weekend.
Oh, okay.
So you can imagine it's very difficult with the local, ministries, etc., departments. But I think it's very unique that you can go on the mountains, on the Alps, and you don't have cars, just you and your bicycle. And
that sounds good.
Now, I also understand that you can, if you want a little more oomph to the touring, you can get a motorcycle and tour in Switzerland on a motorcycle, which those mountain roads are so exciting because you've got these incredible curves and you've got these incredible vistas, and then you can get over the pass really fast. But you can rent motorcycles, I assume. And then, of course, talk about the four wheels. Well, you can, of course, rent a car.
Right.
And that's a wonderful way to see Switzerland because you can take your time, go off into little villages, and really have a chance to stay off the beaten track with a car.
And we always learn from the best. I mean, the United States has the Route 66. I mean, this is the big, the big route, the big road trip. And we launched in 2015 the Grand Tour of Switzerland, which is actually our version of the Route 66, and it connects all 4 cultural and language regions, and they're just scenic drives around the country. It's a 1,000-mile long trip, and there are about 5 alpine mountain passes, so it's really diverse, 22 lakes, and you come in one day, you're drinking a cappuccino in the Italian-speaking part under palm trees, and on the same day you have another a beer on the shore of the longest glacier in Europe, on the Aletsch Glacier. So it's really diverse, and it's, as you said, for motorbike riders, but also for cars. And we launched this year the Egret Tour of Switzerland. So it's the world's first road trip for electric cars, like a Tesla.
So you can plug in?
Yes, you can plug in the car overnight. You have to do it overnight. And it's a very sustainable way. There are about 300 charging stations along this route. And it's the world's first nationwide road trip for electric cars. And I think it's a very good way to experience a country in a very sustainable way.
That's cool.
Interesting.
Very cool.
Now, and then we're talking about 80 wheels. Now, what has 80 wheels? Of course, a train does. I mean, if it's got 10 cars, it's what, 8 wheels per car, and so you've got about 80 wheels, maybe. Could be more or less. But anyway, going by train in Switzerland is an experience that I would suggest everyone has because it is terrific.
But be on time.
Yeah.
Because if it says it's leaving at 10 a.m., it is leaving at 10 a.m.
But the good thing is 15 minutes later, the next train is running.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. They're running on time, but they're always running, you know. So, I mean, if you miss one train, at least 15 or 30 minutes later, there's another train.
Right.
So,
and it's clean.
It's clean, and everyone uses it, you know. It's they prefer train before cars, you know, because you're faster in the cities and you're in the city centers. Mm-hmm. You know, for example, there's a new connection. We opened the longest railway tunnel in Switzerland last year, 37 miles long.
Gotthard-based tunnel. Right?
Yes, the Gotthard-based tunnel, and from Zurich to Milano, Italy, it's about 3 hours, you know, and when you take the plane, checking in, going to the airport outside of the town, flying, checking out, etc., baggage claim, I mean, it takes almost longer, you know, so train is really competitive to flying.
Yeah.
And then, of course, talking about trains, one of the great bargains in the world is the Swiss Travel Pass, which you can find out more about on myswitzerland.com, which is a way to use the trains. You have possibility of traveling unlimited amount of time based on how many days you take with the pass. Yeah. And it also includes boats in Switzerland, buses in Switzerland, the funiculars, many attractions, hundreds of attractions, including museums, and it's one of the best bargains going. And it truly is. Nowadays, it's so high tech. You can have it on your iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
True.
With they have a barcode. But it's really something I'd recommend.
I think it's just incredible that you just need 2 tickets, flight ticket and 1 ticket for all transportation on the ground. So you're done. So you don't have to think about it, where shall I buy this ticket and everything. Just buy this one online before you leave. You have it on your iPhone, and then you travel around. You go into museums, you take a cable car, you take this city transportation. That's really perfect. It's a thing the Swiss do themselves. They also have this kind of pass, and all Swiss students, adults, all the people use that. Yeah. I think it's Japan and Switzerland. Swiss people are the ones who use public transportation and trains most in the world.
I wish we could do it more here, but it just doesn't
work yet.
To work.
By the way, also remember, and we're just about out of time here, but remember that August the 1st, if you're thinking about going to Switzerland, is the Swiss national holiday, which is a great celebration throughout Switzerland. You can hear alpenhorns, you can hear yodeling, there's all kinds of events. Great drinking. Swiss know have a good time. You know, they know have a good time.
Yes, perfect. And what we did in my hometown region, at the border to Austria and Liechtenstein, we had these fires on the top of the mountains. So we went up, with our backpacks filled with wood and drinks, of course, and a sausage to barbecue. And then we went up to maybe, 7,000 meters or something. And then we lit the fire. And there were like bonfires along the valley. So this was the way how we celebrated this 1st of August.
It's always a celebration when you go to Switzerland. And Matthias, thanks so much for sharing all those great insights with us today on Around the World. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go to Zurich, which is a great place to start on any trip to Switzerland. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we're back here on Around the World. I'm Arthur von Wiesenberg.
Yes,
Martha
you are.
Bull
Yes,
is really
you
here.
are.
Are you getting a little more Swiss right now?
I'm feeling very
We got
Swiss.
chocolate. We're ready to
have-
rock and
we
roll.
have
We got cows. We got
cows.
chocolate. And we have a fabulous guest coming in. If you ever wanted to go to Switzerland, one of the first places you might want to start in is in Zurich. That's really the main city.
Sixth best airport in that study I told you about
Yeah,
last week.
I'd give it number one because
I
they have
think
the
it's-
best chocolate.
They have a
airport.
great grocery store there,
Uh-huh.
and good shopping, and then you can take the train right. Just go down the stairs and you're out.
Well, joining us from Zurich Tourism is Aurelia Carlin. And Aurelia, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you so much for having me, Arthur and Martha.
You know, right away when we talked a little earlier, I had to confess something to you. That Zurich is one of my favorite cities in the world. It certainly is one of my top cities in Europe. And it's sort of been unknown. Most people think Zurich is a serious business city. But there's more to Zurich than just business, isn't there?
Absolutely. And thank you for telling me that Zurich is one of your most favorite cities in the world. I really love to hear that. Well, yeah, you're right. Most of the people know about Zurich, the banks and insurance companies, and that's right, that's all there, but there's so much more in Zurich. Actually, Zurich was founded 15 before Christ, so there is a history of more than 2,000 years. And traces of first settlements are going back 7,000 years. So the Old Town is a very historic old town, very well preserved. Mm-hmm. You can smell history when you walk the cobblestone streets in Zurich.
I love just meandering down to
It's just great to spend time there.
Yeah.
You know, you have the churches there from the medieval times. You have the guild houses, and everything is right there. So it's really a very historic, traditional city. So if you're looking for history, tradition, culture, you come to Zurich, to the Old Town.
Now, when I go to Zurich, I'm looking for a little more than just tradition.
He's looking
and
for
history.
food and
I'm
comfortable
looking for
housing.
food, a great hotel, and a lot of fun. And I find it in Zurich. We were just talking earlier about staying in Zurich, and there's some wonderful hotels. There's some great five-star hotels, which I always like to check those out, including the Bauer Lac, the Dolder Grand, and you mentioned one other which I haven't been to, which was...
There is also the Widder, which is a hotel in 9 historical buildings. Each room is different, so really unique. They have a wonderful kitchen and bar. And they also have a guild hall, or I have to say they also have house a guild in their hotel, so it's also a very traditional and historic place. There's another hotel I would like to mention. It's the Storchen. The Hotel Storchen is actually the oldest hotel in town. It's from the 14th century.
Was that the bird that comes and brings babies? The
Exactly.
Storchen?
Yes, that's the one.
No? Okay. Or maybe that's where they're made. I don't know. Anyway.
So this hotel is located on the river. You know, the old town of Zurich is divided by the river Limmat into 2 parts. By the way, Zurich is located on a lake. So it's the only hotel in town which is right on the river. They renovated, they refurbished. They're now a beautiful 5-star property.
Wow.
And they also own this family. It's a family-owned place. They also own a farm and a restaurant a little bit outside of Zurich. So it's always great. You can stay there, and then they bring you to their farm. So you do have a farm visit. You see, how they milk the cows.
Do they have a restaurant on the farm by any chance?
Not on the farm, but right next to the farm. Great restaurant with a very own.
And you see bunnies hopping around outside the windows?
What are you talking
Might
about?
have been. It's called Buch.
I think I might have been
Yes,
there.
they have their own vineyard there. It's
Yeah.
a really small vineyard. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic place overlooking the lake.
That's so
We were talking about Switzerland and the fact that they have such great wines, but you don't find them pretty much anywhere.
US, no.
Yeah, because it's just a small production. And even in Zurich, we have vineyards. Even in the city of Zurich, we grow wine. We have wonderful white and red wine. And, we want the people to come to Switzerland to enjoy our wine.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But Arthur, you said something that when you come to Zurich, you would like to have fun.
Yeah.
So there is a tip for you, and I'm sure you probably know it already. There is the Old Town, and besides there is also Zurich West. Zurich West used to be the working class in the industrial area in Zurich. And for many years, the motto of the city was pray and work. because we're a Protestant city. We have, by the way, next year the 500 years anniversary of the Reformation by Zwingli. So, and then in the 90s, the political and the cultural philosophy of the city changed, thank God. And then we were allowed to do major renovations. And they started in Zurich West, and it's now the neighborhood where we have the nightlife, the art galleries, or the trendy restaurants and the local designer stores. Oh. So, you know, if we, the locals, we go out at night, we go to Zurich West. If we meet our friends in a restaurant or a bar, we go to Zurich West. If we go shopping, we go to Zurich West.
Huh.
It's very cool. I've been.
You've been to Zurich West?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I've missed Zurich West.
Yeah, it's very cool.
You've been to the viaduct you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a very small shopping mall in arches of a former train viaduct. Yeah. And Zurich West is, I mean, it's incredible, lively. It's especially in the summer months.
Yeah. And of course, in the summer, what could be more fun than also going on the lake in a boat? Some of these boats, I guess, do they serve food or do you have drinks on board?
Yes, you also have steam boat tours, cruises, so they serve like, you know, cheese fondue or raclette on the boat, which is
I didn't get on that boat.
which is always great. But, you know, not only on the water, but you can also go in the water. Did you know that in Zurich itself, we have 18 beaches just in the city center, so we swim in the river and in the lake.
Yeah, you have like little clubs, it looked like, when I was on the boat. It seemed like there were lots of people. Yeah.
And since, you know, we don't have really air condition in the offices or in our homes, what can we do to cool off? We go down to the river, we jump into the water, we float down the river and go back to work. And that's really the normal lifestyle we have in Zurich. Yeah. All the locals, we do it. Tourists start doing it now. And in the summer months, which is like May to September, it's all outdoor and open air. We live in the streets. It's like being somewhere on the Mediterranean Sea. It's a great lifestyle.
And it seems like there are a lot of young people from what I saw.
Yeah. In Zurich, we have 2 universities, so about 1/10 of the population are students. By the way, we are Switzerland's largest city, but still we have only about 420,000 inhabitants, with the metropolitan areas about 1.5 million. A bit small, but we have a lot of young people living in Zurich. It's a very active, a very lively community, so there's always tons of things going on. Lots of festivals. By the way, we have a new food festival, which is called Food Zurich, taking place from May 24 to June 3 this year. So for 11 days, we have more than 150 events, all dedicated to food.
Oh boy.
Right up my alley.
Yeah, I guess the diet goes out the window on that one.
It's a great event. It's the 3rd edition. The first year we sold about 50,000 tickets. Last year, close to 100,000. So it's really becoming big.
It's growing, huh?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
well,
If you were going to go skiing, if you left Zurich, what would be the closest ski resort?
Well, you know, that's really something that's great about Zurich. You have all the big advantages of a city. You can go to the museums. You have great restaurants there, great nightlife, shopping. But then you can also use it as a hub and spoke destination. So you stay there and then you do like day trips or half day trips to other parts of Switzerland. So during the day, for instance, you could go skiing. There is some smaller ski areas which are like 1 hour outside of Zurich, but that's more for the locals where we would go to. And then the bigger ones, really with the big names, are like 2.5 hours away from Zurich.
And you're talking by train?
By train. I always talk about public transportation. That's the way how to get around in Switzerland, the easiest.
Yeah.
Although you've got great cab service right from the airport. And you can use Uber in Zurich, which I've used. I've used the cab service. You can put your cabs on your credit card, which makes life easy. And you know, people always say, "Oh, it's so expensive," but actually, Switzerland is not that expensive. You can see Switzerland in a much more budgetary mind. You can stay in hostels, you can stay in dortoirs, and even in Zurich, you can find some nice B&Bs.
Do you have Airbnb there?
Yes, of course. But I would like to mention one thing. We have a card which is called the Zurich card. You've talked about the Swiss Travel Pass.
Yeah.
Zurich card is a little bit similar, but just for the Zurich region. So you can use this card for all the public transportation. Even the train ride from the airport to downtown Zurich is included. So you have trains, buses, boats, and streetcars are free of charge. Out of the 50 museums, about 39 are free of charge. Half price on the guided walking tour, free drinks in certain restaurants, special deals at certain shops, and a lot more. 1 day or 24 hours is like 27 Swiss francs, which is about 29 US dollars. And for 3 days, it's double the price. That's the best deal you find in
Sounds
Zurich.
That is a good deal.
Wow.
Aurelia, if people want to know more about Zurich, you have a special website for them.
Yes, you can always go on zurich.com. It's zurich.com, where you find all the information. And our hashtag is Visit Zurich.
Fantastic. Well, we
Yay.
thank you so much for taking us on a little tour of Zurich. I am dying to go back. But
me
we're going to take a break and we're going to carry on our journey. Coming up next, we're going to be going to Lucerne, which is another fabulous city right here on Around the World. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Around the World. Martha Bull is looking ravishing. I'm just looking ravished. But I'm going to eat some chocolate to keep moving here on our trip around Switzerland. And we are, as we said earlier, we've been already in Zurich. We had an overview also of Switzerland in general. Now we're going to kind of drill down into the heart of Switzerland. We're going to go to Lucerne. And the one person who knows more about Lucerne than anybody in the known universe is Sybil Girardi, who's in studio with us. And she is also with Lucerne Tourism. And thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
So, you know, I mean, when you think about touring in Europe, and especially touring around Switzerland, Lucerne has kind of everything for the visitor, don't you?
That's correct, yeah. Lucerne, it's only a very small city. We only have 80,000 inhabitants, but for the small size of the city, we have a lot of culture. We have a lot of music festivals all year round. We have many famous museums, and then very close to the city, we have a big lake and several mountains. So it's very nice to combine a city break together with excursions to the mountains and on the lake.
How do you get there? Where would you
To Lucerne, it's in the middle, it's in the heart of Switzerland. So if you fly into Zurich International Airport, there's a railway station directly at the airport, which is very comfortable. You take the train and after 1 hour you get out in Lucerne and you are already in the middle of the city. So you don't need any transfer from the railway station to downtown.
Right. Wow. Now, when you talk about hotels, Lucerne is known for its hotels. It has all those beautiful hotels right along the lakefront, which are spectacular. Some of them are 5-star, some of them are less than 5-star. But you've got lots of options. I mean, how many hotels have you got there?
We have really many hotels. So we have the 5-star hotels you mentioned, but we have also very nice bed and breakfast hotels. We have hotels in the city, in the Old Town. We have a car-free Old Town. There are hotels on the mountains around Lucerne. So whatever you like.
There's really every kind of option. As far as things to do, you could fill your days. You'd go to Lucerne for a week and you wouldn't see it all by any means. But I remember when I was there, what caught me by surprise was the Museum of Transportation. Tell us a little bit about how that came about and what you've got there.
The Museum of Transportation is, by the way, it's also located very nice, directly on the lake. So it's a very nice stroll from the city center to go there. And if you are there, you learn everything about the transportation, about the railways, about the cable cars. You can see how they are building the tunnels going underneath the Alps. It's also a very interactive museum, so it's very nice for families and kids as well. And they have new exhibitions all year. So
when I arrived at this museum, I walked up to it and there was this giant round thing. It was the biggest metal thing I thought has come from outer space. There's a spaceship that's landed here in Lucerne, but it wasn't a spaceship, was it?
I think you're talking about the one in front of the entrance. Yeah, that's a machine. They use it to build the Gotthard Tunnel, you know, and recently, it was 2 years ago, the railway tunnel going underneath the Gotthard was open. So that's, I think it's called Barbara, by the way, this thing. So it has a name. So yeah,
it's an amazing thing
to see.
And when you go through the museum, I mean, and it's great great for families. This is a
Yep.
place you can bring your kids and they can go crazy all day long because there's all kinds of activities for them. You can walk on board an old Swiss airplane,
Yep.
which is sitting there. You can, of course, walk through these trains, which are they're beautiful trains
Yep.
from different eras. And then there's a virtual reality experience,
Yep.
which I did, and came off feeling a little bit seasick afterwards, but it was a great experience.
See, yeah.
It's truly a wonderful, wonderful destination.
Yep.
Now, there's a museum that I went to, and maybe you can enlighten me about this museum. It's owned by a woman
Yep.
who oversees this art, which is part of her collection.
Yes, it's Angela Rosengard. She's 85 years old now. She's the owner of the Rosengard collection. It's a huge Picasso collection, and they also have more than 30 paintings and drawings of Paul Klee and other paintings. And there's a very nice story behind, because her father was a good friend of Picasso. So Picasso visited the family many times, and Angela, she was portrayed 5 times by Picasso. So if you're in the museum, you can see her portraits on the walls, and she loves to talk about this time, and very interesting
You should
story.
take advantage now.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
you ever are in Lucerne, you should.
it's an amazing
listen to-
opportunity. You
it
might
is.
actually get to meet her and,
Yes.
and learn about firsthand what Picasso was like, and see some of his work right
Yes.
there on the walls.
And that, his self-portrait just sold for like $70 million or something.
Yeah.
The money is just crazy.
Yeah.
Now, you've got this great lake. You've got boats coming right into the middle of town. I mean, you can literally, you don't need a car, you don't need a bicycle, you can walk everywhere, and then you can take the boats.
Yeah.
And one of the great trips on the boat is around the lake, and maybe stopping in Wisnau for a night or two and staying at the Park
Hotel.
Park Hotel Wisnau, which
why
is
not? Yeah.
one of the most beautiful,
it is.
luxurious hotels,
Yep.
I think, in Switzerland. No?
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. And there you have Mount Rigi, which you can get on the train.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about Mount Rigi, and what's at the top of Mount Rigi?
On the top of Mount Rigi, it's Rigi Kulm, and Mount Rigi is also very famous because of its beautiful view. So there is a train going up, there is a cable car. You can do some walking. You can do in winter. You can do some snowshoe walking or whatever you like. And between the valley station and the mountain station, there is a spa. It's called the Mineral Bath. It's built by a famous architect. It's Mario Botta. So it's wonderful to have a bath there and to enjoy the view onto the lake. So that's one of our really famous mountain we have near Lucerne.
It's an amazing thing to go visit the spa. Actually, what my routine would be, take the train up and then hike down, at least some of the way. And you could hike from the top down to the Rigi
Kaltbad. It's called Kaltbad,
to the spa, and then spend the afternoon in the spa, and then grab the train for the rest of the way down, because you'll be really relaxed. But it is a wonderful experience.
There are many options, you can take a boat and you change to a cable car, you can do a walk, you can go back by train. So
you guys know how to get people around. How's the food?
The food is excellent. We have food from all over the world. So, we have a lot of cheese specialties, like everywhere in Switzerland as well. So you can try a raclette or a fondue. And we have also a lot of chocolate. There in Lausanne, there's a very special shop. It's called Max Chocolatier. And they do small chocolates, all handmade, natural ingredients. And they really look like a jewelry. It's very nice,
One of our viewers is watching on Facebook Live, for those of you who have watched the show, asked a question, and it's a good one. Which towns speak which languages? So we first talked about Zurich, which is, of course, Swiss-German. What about Lucerne?
It's the same. It's also Swiss-German. There are some dialects. It's maybe not exactly the same. We have 4 languages in Switzerland. So that's German. Then that's French. So that's the Lake Geneva region, Lausanne. Then we have the Italian part. It's southern Switzerland. It's Ticino, Lugano, Ascona. And then we have the Romanche. That's the 4th official language. It's some kind of a Latin dialect, but only a few people are talking Romanche. So that's quite special.
Most people speak English.
Most, a lot of, So it's very comfortable and easy to travel in Switzerland.
Yeah, sure is. There's also another great mountain
Yeah.
On the other side from Mount Rigi. And now you have both train, one of the steepest trains, I think,
Yeah.
in the world, no?
Yeah, we have many world records. So you are talking maybe of Mount Pilatus.
Of course,
That's the steepest cogwheel railway going up to the mountain. But now we have a new world record since December. It's the world's steepest funicular railway. It's going up to Mount Stoss. It's another mountain near Lucerne.
Is that where they're doing all that construction, where they're building those big hotels up there on the top?
No, there is a hotel, but it's a wellness hotel. It's quite new, but it's not brand new. So, but it's very nice to stay there. It's 110% of incline, so it's very steep. So
110%.
Wait,
You're
no,
almost...
that's
that-
yeah.
I'm falling off of the train.
Yeah, that's why they have to.
Wow.
They had to invent a new technique. So they are 4 cabins, and they all rotate a little bit, which makes you standing upright all the time. Otherwise, you would fall over. So and it was quite not that easy to build that. So they had 14 years to plan and implement this railway, and 11 votes to win as well. Wow. So we are happy now to.
And for
to
people
have
that
this.
don't know what that is, it's sort of like it's a train that goes up.
Yeah,
it
it's
crawls up the
yes.
side of it.
Yeah.
They're
It's
very
an
cool.
amazing
Yeah.
experience.
It is, yeah.
Well, there's so much
Yeah.
more to Lucerne, and I wish we had more time. But if people want to know more about Lucerne, you have a website they can go
Yeah,
to, right?
they can visit Lucerne. It's lucerne.com. It's LUZERN.com. So you can find everything about our city and the whole region, the Lake Lucerne region there.
Great.
That's so
Thanks
true.
for
Well,
coming.
thank you so much.
Thank you
And,
very much.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go a little further south now in Switzerland. We're going to go down to the Geneva, Montreux, Lausanne region,
The French
the
part.
French section.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. A bientôt. We'll be right back. On around the world. I can't believe we're already coming to our last segment. I want to go back. We should make this a 3-hour show.
I think so.
Because there's so many places I want to go in Switzerland, and we're going to one of the great spots that I grew up in, actually, as a kid, and that's in the southern side of Switzerland, which is in the Lake Geneva region.
With that cool fountain in the middle of
The
the
Jet d'eau, yes, you do. Well, joining us from the Lake Geneva tourism region is our very own dear friend, Françoise Michel, who's so good to have you back. Bonjour.
Merci.
Merci for coming. So for people who want to kind of wrap up a whole trip around Switzerland, Geneva is another place you can fly into.
Absolutely.
And it's a wonderful airport as well.
It's a great starting off point.
Yeah.
You land in Geneva. You can spend a couple of days in that town. You know, the old part of the city. Walk around the lakeside area. There's a part of Geneva, or the Geneva canton, which is actually not very well known. It's the countryside, and they have some wonderful places to visit. They have designed a few biking tour in that area. So definitely Geneva is not only this big international destination that everybody knows or heard about because of the international organization, the museum, the Red Cross Museum, the United Nations, but it also offers a bit of countryside and another face of Geneva.
The Red Cross, who has a great flag. It's just like the Swiss flag, but in reverse.
Absolutely.
So when you go to Geneva, there's also, as you said, outside of the city, which the city is great, and you can go and see watches being made. You can actually go on I saw this information where you can not only go and see a watch being made, you can make your own watch.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which, imagine how good that would be.
That would be fun.
We could do like a Martha Bull watch.
You can design your own own
Would that
watch.
would that be the
Absolutely.
ultimate gift for your friends and family? Is
And I
to
would
make it
set
a
it
watch?
10
Or
minutes
girlfriend.
ahead, so I'd always be on top.
Oh yeah, I bet you would. And the other thing that's great, of course, is the wines that are being grown around there. You have a Côte de Rhône type wine.
That's something which is not very well known. It's that Switzerland is a wonderful wine producer. And actually, the Geneva, Lake Geneva area and Matterhorn region is the largest wine producing region of all of Switzerland. And that whole area, which encompasses Geneva, Lausanne, Montreux, the Vineyard of Lavaux, which is a UNESCO World Heritage. And then you go up the Rhone Valley towards the mountain area, the Crans-Montana, Zermatt, and Saas-Fee. They have incredible wines. And the best way probably to discover that is to either hike or bike along those wine trails. And we have designed quite a few in the region, so you'll be able to meet a winemaker, do your wine tasting. At the end of the day, please.
Right.
It's
not like us today, right?
No. Don't do that at 8 o'clock in the morning. But at the end of the day, it's a wonderful way to wrap up your bicycle tour, to get to know the winemaker, and to get a taste of what is produced locally.
We were talking earlier about when you get out of Geneva and you maybe take the train or a bicycle or a car and you carry on to Lausanne, which is another beautiful city, and some great shopping in Lausanne. And it's right on the lake too. You can go and sit at Ouchy, which is on the lakeside. But there's also, near Lausanne is one of the top restaurants in the world, which is the Hotel de Ville at Crissier.
The Crissier, yes.
And they just got an award, I gather.
Well, Crissier started with Freddy Girardet, who was the former owner of the restaurant, and then he, when he retired, his second in charge took over, and then his second in charge took over, and now it's the fourth chef of Crissier, who was again awarded the 3-star Michelin.
Wow.
So it's kind of unique in a history of a restaurant to have 4 different chefs who will, once after the other, get each time 3 Michelin stars.
Does that mean that in essence they've had 12 stars?
Yeah.
Well, you could say that.
That's how you add things up, right?
But that's pretty impressive to keep 3 stars.
And wait till
Yeah.
you go there.
Yeah.
It's truly a destination restaurant. It's part of the reason if you're going to go to Switzerland, you must go there to eat because it's a food experience you won't find again. Around the corner from there, you were saying earlier that in the fall, there's a town that has a Truffle Festival.
Yeah, it's a little village actually, which is in the northern part of the Lake Geneva region. It's a tiny place called Bonvillard, and each year in October they have an incredible truffle festival with all kind of events taking place, and you can have your truffle fondue. And so why not going once to Switzerland for a truffle tasting instead of going to Italy?
Yeah.
But now, could you go? Would they take you out truffle hunting?
Yeah, you can do that.
That'd be fun.
There's truffles in Switzerland, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And in that area in particular,
amazing.
apparently
Now you know.
they have the ground to grow the truffle, and they'll.
And do they grow all 3 kinds? There are 3 kinds, right? White, black, and
No,
summer?
black truffle.
Yeah.
They
Just
do
black.
black truffle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of fun things to do, of course, in Vevey is where the Charlie Chaplin Museum is. And that's become a big success, hasn't it?
Yeah, it opened 2 years ago. After it took a long time to plan it, and finally it came to completion. It's a wonderful place where you will. There are 2 sections of the Charlie Chaplin Museum. One is his former home, the former mansion where he lived with his family, Una, and his children, and then they built on the side an addition, which is really where they showcase all his work as a film director, as an actor, and this is a very interactive place to visit. So it's extremely
Good thing to put on your agenda.
Oh, absolutely! You can spend a couple of hours there with your family, and the kids love it, and I mean, we see people coming from all over the world.
And I can't get to that side of Switzerland without a little stop up in the mountains in the town called Villars-sur-Glâne, because Villars is where Aiglon College was, which is where I went to school, and it's like going home to go up there.
Yeah.
And in the wintertime, it's great skiing. Now they've connected themselves with Diablerets, so you have a big ski area.
Three mountains. Actually, there are 3 mountains which connect into each other. We also have Glacier 3000, which is the highest peak in the Lake Geneva region, so that's basically open from early November until late April, mid-May, for those who love to go skiing early or late in the season.
And if you want to go in the summertime, you can play golf. It's a tough golf course. It's a tough course.
Yeah, it is one. But you see the Mont Blanc, huh?
Yeah, well, that's okay.
You see the Mont Blanc.
That'll be my excuse. I can't hit the ball, but I see a beautiful mountain. Then if you go down on the other side from Villars, there's the little town of Bay. And tell us a little bit about what's Bay known for.
Well, Bay is a tiny, it's not a village, but it's a tiny town. And it's famous because it supplies salt. I mean, they actually have one of the 2 salt mines of Switzerland, and they supply salt to most of the community. And actually, you can visit the salt mine. So you go underneath with a little train that will take you. You know, and the train takes you all the way. Actually, there's one area where you're just under Villars.
Oh,
that's fantastic.
Now, finally, and we're almost out of time, but you can't mention Switzerland in the summertime in this region without, of course, mentioning the Montreux Jazz Festival, which is one of the biggest musical events in the world, and it has been since the 70s.
Yeah, it's actually going to celebrate its 52nd anniversary. Wow. This coming July. We're just waiting for the lineup to be announced this coming Monday, or Tuesday, actually. They're going to announce who's going to play the Jazz Festival. And it's an event which really brings people from all over the world. And one of the regular coming is Christy Jones, who is always bring a visit to the Jazz Festival. We have incredible performers, and the whole town of Montreux shows a different face during the Jazz Festival. Yes.
Françoise, if people want to know more about the Lake Geneva region, is there a website you can steer them to?
Yeah, it's lgmr.ch, and you will find information about Geneva, the Lake Geneva region, Lausanne and Montreux, and also the Matterhorn area, because Matterhorn region and Zermatt and Saas-Fee and Crans-Montana, these are also great places to visit in the summer if you want to go hiking or mountain biking, for instance.
Or yodeling.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Well, thank you so much for coming today. Really
merci à toi.
it. Merci.
Great pleasure.
Thank you all for watching
you,
Around the World this week. Our All Switzerland show. I want to thank Matthias Kramer, Sybil Girardi, Aurelia Carlin, and of course Françoise Michel, who you just heard from, and of course a big thank you to Martha Bull,
Glad to be here. It was
fun to travel with, and to our team here at Around the World, Michael Nicholson, our director, and Elliot Jacobson, our assistant director. Thank you guys for making a great show, and thank you for watching on Facebook Live, and we'll see you next time on Around the World. In the meantime, happy trails.
See ya.
Thank you.